Hey guys, for my video discussion, I decided to do the case of Ewing versus Goldstein. This happened back in 2004, a very long time ago. I hadn't heard about this case before, but this case resonated with me, and I'll go into more detail on how that happened. But in this case, Dr. Goldstein was the therapist treating this police officer named Officer Coelho, I think is how you would pronounce it, for depression because he had just recently broken up with his girlfriend. And he's treating him for depression. And Coelho is hospitalized. And um, the doctor or the officer's father had heard that um, about the breakup, and then they found out who the girlfriend was dating or cheated on him with. It was a guy named Keith Ewing. And so the officer's father had heard from firsthand that his son, the officer, was wanted to cause harm to this guy. And so he called his therapist, Dr. Goldstein, and said, "Hey, I know he's about to get discharged from the hospital. I don't think that's a good idea because he's mentioned that he wants to cause harm to this guy." And Dr. Goldstein took that into consideration, and it looks like he had called a hospital to try to get him not be discharged, but he was still discharged. And this officer had made had suicidal ideations before, but they didn't let Keith Ewing know about, you know, the possibility of harm that might befall him. And later, I mean, he was discharged. The officer was discharged and ended up did going and killing Keith Ewing and then committed suicide. So the case went on, and it was Ewing's parents that were suing or took Goldstein to court, and the court ruled that any third party information to threats, especially of a family member, is enough to warn that party or all parties. Um, so basically, this court case taught me to do your due diligence. And as I was reading this case, it brought up a situation that happened to me this semester. I'm a I'm a school counselor right now over fourth and fifth grade, and I was called to a classroom to talk to this student because she had let the teacher know that she had suicidal ideations or thoughts. And so I pulled her and I talked to her, and she told me like that she did have suicidal thoughts. Um, but talking to her, I didn't feel she was suicidal. She was going through some things at home, and she was just worried about that, and it kind of led to the suicidal thoughts. But she had never tried anything or anything. And here in Georgia, at least at the school district I'm at, it's required for us to do the CSSRS, um, to do that assessment. And if you know if they need additional help, we have in-house therapy that we can do it, and then we make a safety plan. Um, I didn't feel she was suicidal as I was talking to her, but something inside me told me to do that assessment, and so I went and did it. And as we're doing it, she lets me know that she does have a plan. She did have a plan, and so I'm like, wait a minute, where do you have this plan? And she told me she has a personal diary, her journal, that she keeps with her at all times that no one else reads. And she happened to have it in her backpack that day, so we went and got it, and she showed me, and she did have a plan on how to hang herself. But she said she never tried it. She never did anything like that. She She didn't know where she would get the rope or anything like that. But she had a detailed, like, sketched out plan. It looked like it was a comic book. And so that was a cause for concern. And so from there, we made a safety plan. We called parents, this and that. And she's fine now, totally fine. Um, but please always do your due diligence because you just never know. Um, if I didn't go off of that feeling to do um, the CSSRS, I would have never known that she had that plan. And I mean, who knows what would have happened? But luckily, we got her the help that she needed. Mom and dad knew about it, and so that was with that. Um, so that's why I chose this case because it brought up feelings about that, and I felt like sharing this would help others. So just always do your due diligence. Now, to answer the questions, let's see here, where'd they go? Okay. Um, our textbook defines um, heterosexuality as the most common sexual orientation or identity. It refers to aesthetic or romantic or sexual attraction to members of the opposite sex. And sometimes it's known as straight. Not too many people use that term anymore. But that's the only thing I could see because neither the officer was a homosexual or actually I don't know why this case was on here because it didn't include anything like that. But it's just more the duty to warn. Um, One of the articles I did find, it's called Ethical Decision Making, Supervision Suggestions Utilizing a Review of the Ewing Goldstein case. It looks like it's a married couple. Mahaffey is their name, William and Barbara. They both found out that it would be beneficial to use this case when teaching counselors or therapists about, duty to inform or duty to inform or let know, what might happen. It's beneficial to use this case when teaching others. So like in our setting right now, as we're in college, we're in grad school, we're learning about this case to prevent it from happening, right? Because we got to learn about our past so that we prevent it from happening again. But it's just that. I mean, just do your due diligence. I mean, that the case with me and that student happened just recently, a couple months ago. And if I just didn't have that prompting or feeling to go and continue and do that assessment with her, we would have never found out about that plan that she did have, and it was all drawn out, written out in her notebook or her journal. No one knew about it. Mom knew about the journal, but she never read it. She remembers buying it for her, but she had no idea that that was in there. No one did besides her. So I'm glad it all happened like it happened, and it prevented from anything else from escalating. She's great now. I mean, I see her. I used to see her weekly. I don't anymore, but I do see her around. And I check in monthly is what I do now, and she's fine. She did do therapy for a little bit, and I think she's about to get discharged. But she's good, and everything's good. So just FYI, just do your due diligence. If you have a feeling, go with it. You guys are trained. We're all learning about this. That's all I have. Thanks.